How exciting is it that we are in Exodus already? So Exodus chapter 1, we're going to dive right in. And the verses 1 through 5, it lists the tribes, the 12 tribes, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And if you watch the overview of Genesis, we know that Benjamin, that tribe was basically a part of the tribe of Judah, so it assimilated into the tribe of Judah. This verses 1 through 5 said that Joseph was already in Egypt, and Joseph's his two sons ended up being part of the 12 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. So those were the 12 tribes of Israel. And if you're unfamiliar with that, I highly suggest you go back and check out at least the Genesis overview. Certainly check out all of the videos of Genesis. But verses 6 through 7, Joseph and his generation died, and it said that the Israelites increased greatly in Egypt, which was a part of the promise that God gave Abraham. If you remember back in Genesis, he told him that his descendants would be too many to number in the sky, the stars in the sky. So we see that this is beginning to happen here in verses 6 through 7 and verses 8 through 9. A new king who cared nothing about Joseph. Remember, Joseph walked hand in hand with the other Pharaoh. He was second in command, but this new Pharaoh could care less. He told the Egyptians that they must be harsh to the Israelites, otherwise they would overtake them. Or I think he said to the extent of if they went into war, they would fight against them and then just leave. But, he's speculating on something that hasn't happened at all. And we tend to do that still today, right? Sometimes we think about certain situations or people and we speculate and we say, well, they really feel like this, or, we kind of make things up in our own mind when A, it didn't even happen, and B, it doesn't have to happen. It's just thought that's in your own mind. So it's really important to take hold of your thought. Like the Bible said, take captive every thought and make sure that they line up with the Word of God. And so verses 11 through 14 said, the more that the Egyptians oppressed them, the more the Israelites grew in number. Isn't that crazy? No matter what people try to do to you, they can't stop the promises of God. And it said that the Israelites worked really hard. And I thought this was really interesting too, because I was thinking, I think there's a lot of mystery around who built the pyramids in Egypt. And I wonder if it was the Israelites, there's a lot of confusion around that. I'm not sure, I'm just speculating, but if you know, let me know, leave a comment. But, the Israelites worked really hard and they were in Egypt. And so if, it was unsure who built the pyramids, I'm wondering if it was during this time period. I think that would be a really interesting thing to learn about. And then verses 15 through 21, and I wrote women supporting women. And unknowingly, this is like a mini little girl boss Bible study, because we are doing a Bible study on different women of the Bible, and I've titled it Girl Boss. We've done one video on Ruth, so check it out if you haven't yet. And now we learn about two Hebrew midwives who were awesome women of God, and they were told to kill the male Hebrew babies during childbirth by the king. And the Bible said, but they feared God. They didn't fear man. They weren't afraid of what the king would do to them. They feared God, and they had that respect for God, and they did what was right. They didn't listen to what the Pharaoh said. Instead, they said that the Hebrew women are vigorous, which I thought was fear. So they kind of like low-key gave Hebrew women a compliment. They said that they were vigorous, and they gave birth before the midwives got there. That's what they said to kind of cover their trail. And it said because of this, God blessed and protected them, and he gave them families of their own, which I thought was so cool because, I'm sure they're seeing all these women give birth, but I wonder if they had families of their own. And so God blessed them in that way. And then in verse 22, Pharaoh ordered every Hebrew boy to be thrown into the Nile, which is a river, and every girl can live, he said. And so he did not want the Israelites to grow in number. And again, it's just something that's in his own mind. It's not based on fact. The word says nothing about them, doing anything wrong to the Egyptians. It was just a fear that he had that obviously wasn't from God. And then I wonder, well, if God led Joseph to Egypt, why would he do that in order for the Israelites to be oppressed? You know, God led Joseph there. God led their family there. Why would he lead them to a place of oppression only for them to then be released from that further down that we'll read about? And you know, God sometimes takes us through dark places and dark times in life so that we can learn that he is our source and that we can rely on him, and that, you know, sometimes we have to go through the hard times and the dark places in order to really have that foundational faith that, you know what, God's brought me through worse and he's going to bring me through this again. So I don't know, that's just kind of what I thought. But what did you think about this chapter? It's laying a foundation, and it's really cool that we already studied Genesis and everything kind of comes into play. You know, we learned that the Israelites are in Egypt, and we learned that, you know, some years have passed. There's a new Pharaoh who cares nothing about the Israelites, to the point where he wanted to kill all the males, and he ordered every Hebrew boy to be thrown into the Nile and every girl allowed to live. So super interesting. But let me know your thoughts, like I said, below. Please like this video if you liked it, or dislike it, that's okay too. Also share this video. It helps for other people to find my video in the YouTube algorithm. I post a new Bible study video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I can't wait to study the Bible with you again. Bye.